ChampCar iRacing Series in 2025 continues with round 3, where we leave our traditional American road courses behind just for one round and head over to Oulton Park Circuit, England. The weather looks relatively English, all things considered, and also as round 3, it's the first time this year that we're going to see the return of the Toyota GR86, super popular, super accessible sports car, very familiar to anyone who's ever seen one on the road, all around the world, and they're super popular in club racing, in autocross, and in the ChampCar Endurance Series. You can see the Cup Car spec racing today. David Haynes here with Devin Peters. Michael Derby as HJBC brings you live coverage of today's racing on HJBC and ChampCar channels. Devin, so looking forward to this 1 hour race.
Yeah, and Oulton Park's going to make a good home for these GR86s. I got to think they're good for a little bit of drafting, and these tricky off-camber British corners really seem to kind of suit the spirit of that car. Car placement's going to be important, making sure that you can just eke that little bit of apex speed out and carry it all the way to the exit. I'm looking at the qualifying times rolling in here, and I think we're on for a good one.
Great turnout of cars. We know that these always race very close together. They've got a lot of extra aerodynamics on them, including that big wing. What gives these cars is plenty of grip. They punch a big hole in the air. They stay close together. They've still got the 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engine in them, tuned for just a tiny bit of extra horsepower, but it's certainly a car that has an abundance of grip more than an abundance of horsepower. And Michael Polasek has an abundance of speed at the moment in qualifying. It's going to set the grid for the 1 hour race coming up. When we think about how important is qualifying, sometimes the answer is not really. Here on a potentially difficult to pass, relatively narrow road course, I'd say it holds more weight than it does at Daytona or Road America or even Watkins Glen.
Yeah, you got to think there's a couple corners here where with a run you can get alongside, and then it's one of those deals where if you're on the inside line, you basically force the other guy into compromising their line while you race for the apex. This is also one of those tracks where every single kink and bend and bump on the circuit is named, so you'll have to forgive me while we're going around here today. I'm going to do my best, but I don't know. How you feeling about Lakeside, Haynes? Hillsops? Hislops?
Yeah, there's a few to remember. So let's look at this year's racing in ChampCar iRacing Series, open to ChampCar members and the sim racing community to race together. It started with round 1, the Mazda MX-5 on Indianapolis Motor Speedway's road course. Then Daytona International Speedway was last time out. Now we're at Oulton Park. Going to have a string of races that are well familiar to everyone in the ChampCar Endurance Series, like Road Atlanta coming up next, then Watkins Glen, Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, Sebring and others.
I got to invite him up to Canada, once a season.
And of course, Devin, we're not just competing to hone our skills, stay fresh on the racing circuits that ChampCar Endurance Series goes to. We're also competing for some great prizes.
That's absolutely right, David. So we have a 12 race long season, 3 drop weeks, and the overall points champion is going to get $2,000 in Champ Bucks credit to their name, and they're going to be able to put that towards any race on the ChampCar calendar. So pretty exciting stuff for our overall winner. Of course, you don't have to be fast to win in the ChampCar Series. You just got to come out and have some fun. So we've got 3 mini seasons throughout the year, rounds 1 to 4, 5 to 8, and 9 to 12. And if you show up to all 4 races in one of those windows, you're going to get entered into a draw to win 250 Champ Bucks just for showing up. And then, of course, we'll have our endurance season later on in the year, and there'll be some great prizes available for that, but more information coming.
Yeah, fantastic. Got to wait till November, so not all of the details have we locked in just yet there. There's a couple of iRacing, builds and updates between now and then, so we don't know what new things we might get, how the community and everyone feels about the different cars when that time comes around. The time's about to come around to the end of qualifying, and that'll lock in our grid of 40 Toyota GR86s here at Oulton Park. There's that short and narrow and slow little pit lane here at Oulton Park. Very different to the long pit road of Road America or Daytona. I'm going to continue to contrast this circuit between those two perennial favorites, because in terms of, sort of the average speeds, the track width, and how the strategy is going to be approached, this is a unique venue. The checkered flag is waving on qualifying, where Michael Polasek is up top at the moment from championship points leader Ryan Puxel. Paul Darling third, and it's going to be super competitive. We might take a look at those points now, before we get to the grid as well. So 2 races completed. This is the championship points. It's tied between Ryan Puchtel and Jared Collins, 81 points each. Ryan Puchtel was the winner at Daytona last time out after Lincoln Fox's disqualification. So Ryan Puchtel, credited for the win, 81 points, is by tiebreaker the championship leader at the moment, but those two are only 2 points ahead of Michael Polasek. Jordan Probst super close with them as well in the top 10, completed by Aaron Brown, Kyle Robertson, Michael Chase, Ryan Carwile, Ian Giebler, and Paul Darling. 50 points on offer for a race win here today as well. Looks like one of our drivers, Paul Darling, practicing the pit entry. I think pit lane speed here is about 35 miles an hour, give or take on that one.
31 today, so they're really going to be crawling down there.
Yeah, so with the way that the pit entry is, you do need to slam on the anchors as you approach. It's 30 seconds left, and a bit of overcast has come over the racetrack that could be cooling it down before we get ready to go racing. 1 hour of racing. Hopefully it doesn't get too dark, but these cars are all fitted with headlights. So moments away from locking in the grid, and we'll take a look at it as we get ready to go racing. 38 drivers set qualifying times. Barney's almost done waving the checkered flag there. Here we go. This is the grid. Michael Polasek is qualified on pole position ahead of championship leader Ryan Puchtel. Paul Darling and Jared Collins are going to be on the next row. Our big hitters are right at the top of the field. Alex Coffard has qualified 5th, and there's Aaron Smith in 6th. Sean Fritz, Kyle Robertson, Bill Woods, and Jordan Probst complete the top 10 after the 20-minute qualifying session. The next row is Alex Harrison and Ian Giebler, Tim Wire and Vincent Bernier on that next row. Orlando Herrell and Bowie Sewan, Colin Lounsbury, Andy Cosick, Gene Sirota, and Matt McGee complete the top half of the field, all in identical Toyota GR86s. Ryan Carwile and Logan Senhauser on the 11th row. Aaron Brown, Mark Kruger, Sean Roberts, Scott Grinnell, Kevin Collins, Corey Barrett, Josh Toothman, and Zach Balthazar is the cars to 30th place. And then Kyle Guillory, Jeffrey Rockwell, Cameron Senhauser, John Nicholford, Steve Hermé, Andrew Lemke, Cindy Pickett, and Darius Goodman was the last driver to qualify. Stephen Sotter and John Cherry did not. It's one of them that we might not see in this race. All of them are forming up to make the rolling start now, which will be a 2-wide rolling start led by the Ford Mustang FR500S pace car. Yeah, they are part of the way around the racetrack, formed up behind the pace car. When the Ford
It's
Mustang
beautiful.
F500S gets going.
I love it.
Do you think
I
the
love it.
four-cylinder Toyotas look on in envy at 4.6 litres of overhead cam American iron?
You gotta think though. It's impossible to know if that's one of the the 4-cylinder Mustangs, right? So, but
It's got a V8 badge on it. It says GT on the back. It's the real deal,
I
Devin.
believe you. But I'm really excited. Like, just look at that horde of GT86s coming up to the final corner. This is going to be a good one, Haynes.
Live timing's available, champcar.hjbc.live, or it might be linked in the YouTube chats as well, depending on where you're watching. If you've got a friend or teammate you're trying to keep up with, that's a great way to do it. And it is a horde of GR86s that get shown the green flag just as the pace car pulls away. It perhaps catches pole sitter Michael Polasek a little bit by surprise. 2 wide, 3 wide towards a narrow turn 1, all trying to mind their P's and Q's, but there is a little bit of contact back there.
I got Sean Fritz turned around on the inside, and I saw another one on the outside. I'm trying to get back there. It's a bit of chaos off the start. Sean Fritz and Jared Collins. Oh, Collins is up there in the points too.
Some say that there's a curse to being in the YouTube thumbnail, and perhaps that's struck already. The racetrack narrows significantly through turn 1, downhill through the Cascades, and then this is a key feature of the racetrack here. Super fast kink leads into this banked, very nicely banked hairpin that your leader now, Paul Darling, is going to take the field through. Polasek back in 2nd, Puxel back into 3rd, Alex Coffard up into 4th, Carl Robertson snuck through into 5th place as well. But this is the longest straight on the racetrack, over the rise, over the crest, flat out, and then you're looking for a big braking zone into this chicane where you've got to mind the tyre bundles on the apex. They are very firmly anchored. There's a lot of speed to be had getting close to them. There's a lot of speed to be lost by making any contact with them.
Yeah, and you tend to lose it through angular momentum, i.e. rolling your car over. So we'll see if anyone makes a mistake tonight. Getting the good exits is important. Deep in the field, we're seeing the likes Sean Roberts and Josh Toothman coming up the hill side by side. But it's going to be a lot of single file and momentum racing today. That's going to be the main characteristic we'll expect.
So looking just behind Andy Kosick, always incredibly reflective.
Minty.
1 lap completed. Yeah, track drops away massively out of that final corner. So you turn in and then the racetrack drops away out from underneath you. Not a lot of grip until you catch up with the dip again. Pressure looks to be on here. That's wide through turn 1.
Yeah, that's not the right way to do it. If you can help it. Who do we got out there, Hans?
Sean Roberts and Toothman looks like he gets down. Grinnell gets down the inside of Toothman there. Corey Barrett and Zach Balthazar just behind. So black and gold is Toothman. Grinnell with the sort of retro 80s Toyota livery there that I think might have raced in the US, while Sean Roberts has got what I attribute to more of a 90s Toyota throwback with the Castrol swooshy green and red. It was used in World Rally Championship and also Super GT, or Japan Grand Touring Championship, as I think it was called, in the 90s. There's a bit of action through the chicane on this lap around. Sees sort of this battle form up between 4th and 5th. There's Puxel with Kyle Robertson alongside him as they head up the hill underneath the bridge. There's a massive train of cars here from Aaron Smith, Jordan Proxt, all the way through to 16th place by the looks of things. But they are really nose to tail in this segment.
Yeah, Robertson in that green and black car, trademarked of the drivetrain or motorsports guys. We often see them battling up near the front, but it is a battle. We've got, I think the car is going nose to tail, basically from 1st out all the way out to 17th, maybe with a tiny little gap forming as the top 3 start to break away.
These cars are on slick tyres. It's one of the sort of Cup car modifications that they've got, and with that sort of racing tyre, takes a lap or two to continue to build the temperature into them. So we're seeing now a new fastest lap of the race being set and then reset a couple of times as everyone's now up to racing speed beginning lap 3. So one of the places you can run a little bit wide is that left-hander at Cascades down there. And this is what I'm talking about. You can't quite go flat out through this left-hander here. If you do, you'll end up in the grass wide and it'll prevent you from braking properly for this hairpin corner that the leaders come through. Michael Polasek might have got a little out of order there. Alex Coffard is right at his rear bumper for second place. And there's a few others that might be looking to shape up some moves. This is the fastest straight, so it makes sense that the braking zone at the end is where a lot of the moves are going to be made right here.
Yeah, it's such a narrow entry. Like I was saying during the warm-ups, it's one of those corners where once you get alongside, you just got to insist on your spot, and it's going to cost everyone behind you a whole bunch of time.
Polasek manages to hold on to his second place. I think the way things run at the moment, you can never count your chickens too early, but he would go to the lead of the championship with this, ahead of Collins and Puchtel by 2 spots on the road. Championship leader back in 4th place at the moment. Qualified on the front row of the grid, dropped 2 spots, and look at that. He's just eager to stay in line for the moment. Had easily a 200-foot lift and coast into the braking zone there, just keeping a car distance and an eye on what's happening at front and staying in contention.
Well, and as regulars will know, a pit stop is obligatory here in the ChampCar series. So you're going to see some fuel games being played as these drivers try to make sure the mileage goes the distance and try to shorten that mandatory stop as much as they can.
So Jared Collins was one of the cars that went around in the turn 1, lap 1 contact. It's gone from 4th back to 26th, but you've seen, he's just set the fastest lap of the race. He's got an incredible amount of car speed, but he's well out of position. He might be one of the first drivers that we see attempt to pit. So looking then back at Kevin Collins in 34th, seeing Cindy Pickett and Sean Fritz battle in front. Sean Fritz was also one of the cars that went around early on lap 1.
I think we're actually getting a peek there for a moment at Kevin Collins, Jared's father, who's joined us for a race this season for the first time. So kind of exciting. We're getting some of those intergenerational groups out here.
Is it first time?
It might not be the first time. It's the first time he's filled out the driver survey, Haynes. So that's basically the same thing for me.
Okay, it's got to be in the paperwork for
yeah,
Devin
it's not official.
Getting a look here, Druids corner, double apex off camber. Difficult to spot the track out point of that second part as well as you go over the crest. You're seeing a little bit of movement and really a bit of a check up here behind Aaron Smith, as then Jordan Probst, I think, is getting his elbows out against Kyle Robertson. They're side by side, heading towards the start-finish line, and there's a bit of contact there. Few cars get wiggly, and we remain sort of checked up, 2 wide, 3 wide, heading towards turn 1. The elbows are coming out, and the drivers are muscling for a bit of position through turn 1.
Oh, they're driving like they're momentum cars. They're bumping fenders and sliding each other around a little bit. It makes the guy nervous because there's no net code in the real world, but out here on the sim, a little contact and the wrong moment of lag, and you end up with cars facing the wrong way.
So Probst gets ahead of Bill Woods and is now behind Kyle Robertson, leading this group in 5th as the top 6th as the top 5 has started to get away somewhat.
And I've just noticed that Probst is running a very classic, Tofu AE86 livery. Very nice. Very well done.
There's a good couple of classic Toyota liveries through the field. This is a car that lends itself to that. It lends itself to some great racing as well, trying to go around the outside of Kyle Robertson. Probst places himself to try to squeeze around the outside, and he'll keep the 2 wide through there. The 2 of them will bang door to door. You've got to carry momentum here to go up the hill. The 2 are checking themselves up. Bill Woods is looking for the 3rd lane there, and he's having to open that door to try to 2 for 1, and there's a spin for the car in the middle, and Kyle Robertson's going to lose out. 3 of them, 4 of them are going to end up in the Armco.
Oh no! Oh no! That's going to be an expensive one. Looks
few
like,
pieces there.
yeah, a few cars not driving so straight. Oh, and that's gonna write off another couple. And we're watching the carnage here. Unfortunate, but you see just how tight it is. And when we're racing around a track like this, with not a lot of runoff and not a lot of road, not much to do.
So there's quite a few cars on pit lane after that. You saw a few big hits, a few spins and continues. And with less than 10 minutes into this race, Paul Darling leads from Michael Polasek. Coffard there in third has Ryan Pucktel and Aaron Smith getting a lot closer. So first and second have bolted a tiny bit. Third, fourth, fifth still close together. And we saw all hell break loose for sixth place last lap. Bill Woods did sneak through unscathed. Alex Harrison behind him. Lounsbury 8th. Tim Wire 9th in the top 10, completed by Bowie Suin at the moment.
Yeah, always good to be on the outside when the guys on the inside start wrecking. Tends to be a thing. But tough to go 3 wide anywhere, so a brave move, and unfortunately catches out a few drivers. Luckily, we've got really, really good track stewards here, so all the pieces just disappear, and they get to keep racing. No curve,
some really,
35s for them.
Really, really big brooms. So a driver who's gained a few positions as it's all gone off is Jared Collins. So I think he still holds the fastest lap of the race. Maybe he doesn't, depending on how you measure it. Andy Cossack's pitting in. So it's opened up a little bit more space for him as well. He's opening up plenty of space on the exit of turn 1 there as well. You can't do that every lap and get away with it, but you might get away with it this lap.
Yeah, there is some slowdown available out there, but there's also an instant limit that's pretty forgiving.
Errol just up the road in 13th was out of line as he battled with Gene Sirota, and so he's in grey just ahead. But what he was not able to do was pass the factory livery of Gene Sirota, who is following Bowie Suin in the Drive Trainer Motorsports colours, which there's a few. He's got the blue pin striping for Bowie Suin.
Yeah, looking good, leading that little pack. And they're shortly going to be joined by Jared Collins, I think, who's now just a few spots behind him, putting the pressure on. You can kind of see him in the back of the shot there in that aquamarine, maybe greenish and black kind of livery. Mountain Dew and Taco Bell featured.
Yeah, it's a few snack food liveries going on here. Slow exit there from Bowie Suin, so now Sirota and Herrell get down the inside of him for position. Herrell was sort of still sniffing around a position with Sirota, and then another one's opened up here. Got one of the Sennhausers, Logan Sennhauser, in black and purple there, trying to squeeze around the outside of turn 1. A corner that sort of tightens late, has a late apex. We've seen that there's a bit of grass and dirt on the exit that's kicked sideways for Orlando Herrell.
Yeah, we got a cloud just over top of the track right now too, and it's getting dark out there. The track temp's dropping, and guys might be taking advantage of that. Almost 5 Fahrenheit off the track temp in the last minute or so.
Yeah, 68 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, or as they call it in England, summer. Not bad for racing at all, though. And a fair bit of racing we are getting. A few more cars stopping right now. Cindy Pickett and Cameron Sennhauser are stopping.
Yeah, we've got a good good little group of folks that are starting to be on their second stops. I think the leader on the track of folks with one stop is Ian Giebler and Ryan Carwell right now. And these GR86s do have gigantic fuel cells, so even though they were limited on how much fuel they could go to the grid with, an early stop is still in the cards for folks who want to go that route strategy.
Oh, a spin barrel! And a nudge to the Armco guardrail there. I told you it's a little bit off camber. It's a double apex right-hander there where the track drops away on exit. Track limits can also see that you just touch the outside grass and spin around. Yeah. He's on the grass on the way in. He can't quite catch the slide, and it's 300, 400 feet later that he actually makes contact with the guardrail, tried to save it and couldn't. He's done himself a bit of damage there. He's not the only car slowing down to 31 miles an hour to negotiate the pit lane.
Yeah, he's going to get some repairs and try as he might. I think he might get away with that. He followed the tire tracks all the way to the scene of the accident, but he'll get that thing pointed the right way, and I'm not even sure he put new tires on it.
It takes a minute to change all four. Like, not a literal minute, but it's not rapid to change the tires on these. They don't have the single center lock wheel nut. They've got 5, and then I don't think you have an unlimited number of rattle guns the way that it counts it. So, yeah, it seems like a car you might change 1 or 2, but not one that you're going to change all 4, and it doesn't look like Orlando Herald did. This is the battle for the lead group. It's closed up. We were talking about a top 5 with a bit of space between first and second. Well, now there's far less space. Paul Darling only half a second ahead of Michael Polasek. Ryan Puxel getting into third position ahead of Alex Coffard, I think. And then Aaron Smith, Bill Woods, and even Alex Harrison seem to have gotten just a little bit closer to the leaders. Last lap for the leader, Paul Darling, was a 1:48 flat. Well, his best of the race is a 1:46.7, so maybe about a second or so off the pace, just backing it up a little bit, and maybe also minding his track limits a tiny bit more so he doesn't get called in on that.
Yeah, I think another key factor is also just the lap traffic. As soon as this line of cars catches someone who's a lap down, and there's a few of them at this point, it's causing them to check up a little bit. And then if anyone decides to battle, it just opens the door even further. Even Jared Collins, who had that spin on lap 1, he's only 11 seconds back from the front end of the field at this point, and closing. So the race is not over, despite the drama that ensued on lap 3 or 4 there.
Nice lake there, but a nice bit of gravel being dragged onto the hairpin corner there. You wouldn't want to get offline. You're not going to pass anyone by going around the outside there by the looks of things. And even Colin Lounsbury gets closer to the race lead. So, like I said, Darling's done another 1 minute 48. Colin Lounsbury at the tail of the train here in the high 146s. I think there is some serious games afoot here amongst the leaders.
Yeah, well, hey, we were talking earlier. The fuel matters a lot here. So we'll see. Darling looking comfortable out front, though. Who do we got now?
Sirotto around the outside of Jared Collins, I think. Is that correct?
Can't be Collins. Collins is running...
Darius Goodman
11.
And John Nicholford, maybe then? Yes. I'll take that. John Nicholford and Darius Goodman.
Does bear saying we got a sold-out field today, so 40 cars, 40 pit stalls. Couldn't fit another one on the track.
There's 40 grid stalls. There's only 18 pit stalls. Some people are triple bunking it. Taking a look at a replay here for Aaron Smith. He's gone up into 4th place. Is that what the... So Alex Coffard's dropped from sort of 3rd to 4th to 5th, but he stays in contact with the race leaders. Paul Darling's put the hammer down a tiny bit more, found a little bit more speed, but still has Michael Polasek all under his rear wing. Fast left-handed, you just breathe the throttle a little bit there. And now braking into the hairpin.
Serrata and Collins are getting close together. For 10th place, Collins putting the pressure on right now, trying to go around the outside. Serrata's going to hold the inside line on the entry to the Hislop chicane. It's a good spot to be, but Collins has already shown us how you make this pass work on the outside. He's going to do it, I think. Yeah, he's got that preferred line, and you see it well executed there. Serrata had no choice by the time that Collins was up the inside. Serrata, leading Canadian in the field, getting shuffled back to 11th place there.
Do you have Baja Blast in Canada? We don't have it in Australia.
Oh, we got it, buddy. And we drink it even when it's snowing.
The more you learn.
Haynes, where's the top Australian for us today?
At work.
Oh, okay. Well, next time.
Someone got a little sideways there, just outside of the top 10. Logan Senhauser, just ahead of Bowie Suin. Yeah, and so there's a few positions that change here. Oh, that's super sideways again into turn 1. You've got a lap down driver in front of Senhauser that I think is giving him some grief, if I'm reading this correctly.
Yeah, ooh, one in the background. That's Mark Kruger. He has a bit of a moment. This track really just unsettles the car all over the place. You're never really quite comfortable in driving in a straight line. You're always off camber this or leaning that way. And so when someone does something unexpected ahead of you, it's tough to keep it pointed the right way.
And when you look closely, the suspension on these cars is a little bit wallowy. Some people complain about that, a bit soft, a bit of body roll always going on. There's a few places that shows itself around here. And then some of the slides where the drivers try to catch it but can't is partially the responsibility of the traction control comes in. And you think, if I throttle this a little bit and counter steer, I can save it, but it doesn't let you throttle it, and then it's sort of off throttle oversteer and continues looping it around on you. This is the race lead. Paul Darling with Michael Polasek, Ryan Pucktel. In fact, you've got 4 cars within 1 second of the race lead as they are all following Mother Duck Paul Darling.
I was calling Lounsbury in the background with all 4 off. A lot of ways to make Druids work. That's one of the more exciting ones.
Imagine how good it must be to stand around a bubbling cauldron with your boys. Like in the forest. Must be so good.
So good.
So here's a pace comparison for you. Jared Collins, 145.7, a new fastest lap of the race, is 2 seconds faster than the pace Paul Darling and this leading pack is doing right now. Jared Collins was 26th and ages off the lead. Now he's 10th, 7 seconds off the lead, and in the back of shot in half of these cameras. Jared Collins has gone from spun around and most of the way to last in turn 1 to right back in the hunt for a big points haul and even on the podium. Here he is.
It could definitely be a factor. He's technically tied with Ryan Pucktel. Pucktel's got the tie break right now with the win at Daytona, and Polasek, who's running second ahead of Pucktel but behind Paul, is third in the points. So it's going to be I mean, this is a points battle like we haven't seen in years.
A lot of contenders, and the beauty of it is that it will sort of chop and change and expand and contract because we vary the car round to round. So we've seen these drivers in the BMW M2 and we've seen them in the Mazda MX-5 Cup car. This is the first time for the year we see them in the Toyota. One car might be more comfortable for some drivers than others, and there might be a round where suddenly drivers like Jordan Probst or Ryan Pucktel look very good in the BMW. Suddenly Jared Collins looks absolutely electric in the Toyota GR86, and there's 4 rounds of each car in the calendar this season as well. So it's relatively sort of equalized by the time we get to the end, but you might see some drivers win in one car, other drivers win in the other. We get to a point towards the end of the year and it might look very, very close. Darling's picked up the pace, so a 46.9 now, but still Jared Collins is flying, and he's going to close in on this lead group in a lap or two if they don't pit soon or they don't find some more pace. Jared Collins, lightning in a bottle right now.
Yeah, he's definitely the destabilizing factor in this race. Curious to see. I mean, even at the back of this lead group, I've been noticing Lounsbury and Harrison just kind of weaving a little bit, big lifts and coasts, and they can definitely tell that the pace is off at the front, but when you've got 7 cars nose to tail in this front group, there's just not a lot of places to go.
Jared Collins moves ahead of Tim Wire and up into 9th to be the next best placed car after this leading gaggle of 8. And I think gaggle is fair. They are very much bumper to bumper the whole way through, tightly compressed, one following the other. There's Lounsbury moving around just a little bit behind Alex Harrison, as you were talking about. It's in the Cracker Barrel machine. Pit entry is just on the right-hand side there, and none of them go for it.
I was to say Lounsbury is wearing a faux drive trainer livery. He's actually a Love Racing guy. Races with them more often, I believe. And Harrison's got his orange take on it, but that's its own thing. But Lounsbury, he's wearing that green and black livery for good reason. As far as I understand, he's actually works for Ryobi in his real life job. So, bringing the job to the track. Oh, and he makes a move off the inside here. Nicely done. Gonna push Harrison wide.
Yeah, a bit of a squeeze on it for reasons we pointed out earlier. You don't want to be very wide through that hairpin. There's a lot of gravel out there. Now, Lounsbury's going to hope that he can follow the slipstream of the cars in front, but I think he gets a little hung out to dry here as they all follow the racing line in front. Can get a little bit of GR86 door-to-door. Lounsbury trying to park it super deep on the brakes there. Still overlap and touch as they go through the left-hander of the chicane. Guess who squeaks through for 2 more positions? Jared Collins.
And that's tough. It's weird. If you're on the inside line going into that first right-hander, you're actually in the losing spot. You got to trust the guy on the outside to get out of your way when you turn back to the left. And unfortunately for Lounsbury there, that was not a position that was given up for Harrison. We'll see it on the replay here. They touch a little bit going into the braking zone. Lounsbury is diving it in deep, and he's almost clear, but not quite. And he ends up facing the wrong way.
Take a look from on high. There's just a little bit of overlap still between them as they come through here. I reckon Colin Lounsbury thought he was clear. I reckon Alex Harrison thought he could keep his nose in it. So they're super close and level on the way into the braking zone. There's a bit of a checkup for Harrison behind the other cars. At that point, unfortunate. Just unfortunate.
In the
2
meantime,
cars pit from up front, and it's the Alexes, Coffard and Harrison.
Yeah, Coffard and Harrison hit the lane and are coming out, and I think that they've identified a bit of an open bit of the track here. See him rejoining around 18th, 19th place, and no one for seconds around them.
This is the leaders. Then there was 5, but there could be 6 again because Jared Collins, back of shot. He was almost out of this, and he's resurrected his race and just been absolutely blisteringly quick. And he's just 2 seconds away from catching the train that Paul Darling leads. Some of these drivers might be thinking about reacting to those pit stops from Coffard and Harrison, 2 drivers who were in this leading group. So it's the first ones to break away, and others might follow. I think it looks like Paul Darling has picked this up a little bit as well, because he knows now others from inside of the top 10 have pitted. He could get undercut if he keeps, I don't want to say dawdling, but,
managing the
himself.
race.
Yeah, managing.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
That's what he was doing. He was doing it very effectively. But now you've got a different thing to manage, which is 2 guys have stopped, found a bit of clean air, and could be undercutting you.
I got to think also that he's just seeing that turquoise car looming in the background. 6th place for Jared Collins in the back. Top 5 right now: Paul Darling, Michael Polisek, Ryan Pucktel, Aaron Smith, and Bill Woods rounding out the top 5. Collins sniffing, chasing him down. John Sirota sitting just a few more car lengths back, seeing him in the back of the shot there. 8th place is Lounsbury after that spin. And 9th place, Aaron Brown, Logan Senhauser behind. So nice little battle and plenty to play for in the last 30 minutes of this race.
So Tim Wire also stopping. You've had quite a few drivers that have been through pit lane, and the highest running car to have stopped at the moment is Alex Coffard, but his pit stop just 11 seconds, very short compared to others. Now, the pit stop times are all on the live timing, champcar.hjbc.live, and even compared to Alex Harrison's stop or Ryan Carwil's stop, very rapid one from Coffard. But we saw a lot of drivers inside of that top 5, top 6, very noticeably, very dramatically fuel saving for the first half hour of this race.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if anyone's fuel numbers are thrown off by just how slow the lead pack was going. Because between the draft and the slow pace, you got to think that some of the guys were just sipping on fuel through the first stint.
Mark this down. Alex Coffard is 29 seconds behind the race lead right now. And soon we'll keep an eye on if he or any of the other drivers that have stopped are lapping much quicker than Paul Darling. Jared Collins, here he is. And he has the chance to just drop it back a little bit now as he catches Bill Woods, who follows Aaron Smith, who follows Ryan Pucktel, who follows Michael Polisek, who follows leader Paul Darling. He's well and truly integrated with the group now.
Yeah, he's going to have a go at Bill Woods, who's running 5th. Woods, we've seen around a few times. I think, if I'm honest, I'm a little surprised to see him doing this well. He said before the race that Oulton Park is his least favorite track on the schedule this season, but it seems to be treating him pretty well so far.
I think that means we've selected 11 other fantastic circuits for the rest of the season. So it's what's the opposite of cheerleader effect? Anyway, Josh Toothman's back out into the race, and so too is Corey Barrett. Many other drivers opting to pit now that we're just past the halfway point of this 1 hour race.
Well, and he drives a BMW, does Woods. And there. Who are we watching now? Sorry, this is Barrett we're on.
I think Barrett's Mr. Cheez-Its today.
There you go, wearing a livery for another league, but looking good doing it. He's taking that minty approach to his paint job. He's gone red. Normally our minty car is metallic blue.
Woods and Jared Collins pit. So then there's just 4 up front. Darling and Polisek have put a bit of space between themselves and Ryan Pucktel, so we'll see if Pucktel maybe had a little bit of a mistake. Darling's ratcheting up the pace yet further. 146.2, I think, is one of the fastest laps Paul Darling's done this race. So right now is make or break crunch time. Someone's almost missed their pit stall right at the entry end of the lane there. Lounsbury might have struggled to get into his, and so too might have Bowie Suin.
That tight stuff. Woods,
they all blend out behind Alex Coffard. So Woods, Collins, all of them behind Alex Coffard. Paul Darling's got a tiny bit of traffic that he's trying to dive around here, and so too will Michael Polisek. These two staying out, running long in the lead of the race. The gap between Darling and Coffard is the same as when I spoke about it about 2 laps ago or so. So Darling's responded with the pace that he always had but wasn't showing.
Puckdale's trying to make a move around some lap traffic in the background. He's got Jeffrey Rockwell on the outside. Aaron Smith's trying to follow through as well in the yellow car on the inside at the apex. And you see the contact puts Jeffrey Rockwell into the outside wall. Rockwell running last car on the lead lap, and unfortunately in the wrong spot at the wrong time. Got to keep your head on a pivot on these British tracks. There's just not a lot of room. See Smith here. He dives down the inside. He follows, and I think Rockwell just wasn't aware that he was coming through as well. Fastest lap of the race
goes to Michael Polasek. So Paul Darling pitted from in front of him. Aaron Smith pitted two corners after that replay we were just looking at. They're on the lane right now, just leaving Michael Polasek, Ryan Puckdale, and I was about to say Sean Roberts, but Sean Roberts enters the pit lane, so there's just them plus Darius Goodman that have yet to make their stop. Top of my head, if they started with 7 gallons, they've gone just past the halfway point of the race. They're probably taking on board 4 or 5 gallons of fuel at that stop.
That would explain the lengths of pit stops we're seeing. The pace will be an interesting factor in this second half of the race, because there might be an extra lap on order depending on how fast they run it to the flag.
Dangerous to be a lapped car when these guys are coming through by the looks of things. The rate of pace and closing that they've got has obviously surprised some, but Polasek and Puckdale have got to keep the foot down. Paul Darling has come out of the pit lane behind Alex Coffard, whose undercut appears to have given him track position for the moment. So Polasek and Puckdale have got to respond lest they also be undercut by these two.
Yep, Polasek's coming past the flag again, not stopping this time. Same goes for Puckdale, so they're trying to extend the stint. And I think we've reached the phase where the lap traffic is back with the guys who have pitted. So staying out long enough, eventually you get some fresh air to run in. .45.647 for Michael Polasek. Just equals the fastest lap of the race that he set the lap previously. Is Alex Coffard trying to get by Steve Hermé? Aren't we all just trying to get by in a way, though? Yeah, I'm really curious to see how this works out for Coffard. Drivers in the cars might not have the full picture of exactly the length of the pit stops down to the 10th, but you can if you look at the timing screen, and we can too. And I can tell you the Coffard's, well, he's done a fewer attempts than the other guys to get that undercut to work. So I'm curious to see what his fuel situation is going to be like in the second half. It could be a coup. It could be a big mistake. We'll see.
There's always just a little question mark over when the checkered flag flies in a timed race like this, based on the multitude of factors, including the race leader's pace and, exactly how the race control measures it to score the final lap. This is Polasek leading the way. He hasn't stopped. Beginning to just catch a couple more cars, but surely it's about to be time that he goes to pit entry, slows it down to the 31 miles an hour, and as the pole sitter, he'll be looking for his pit stall all the way at the far end of the lane. Ryan Puckdale follows him in. They don't need to worry about cutting across too quickly.
That was a really quick entry from Puckdale. I hope he got it slowed down all the way.
They're good, but there's good brakes on this car. Apparently some people don't believe that the BMW has great brakes, but I'd say that the braking performance is pretty good for the Toyota GR86. Polasek, 12 seconds. He's out. Look in the back of shot there. He might come out ahead of Alex Coffard and Paul Darling, and I think he will. So the overcuts worked relatively well for Michael Polasek here. He'll just be ahead by the time they get to the bottom of the hill and make the left-hand turn into the long sweeping cascades. Bit of separation between Polasek and Darling could be very advantageous for Polasek.
Yeah, if Polasek can make this work, having a little bit of fodder behind to slow down the competition is never a bad thing. especially at a track where position matters as much as it does here. Meanwhile, Ryan Puckdell's come out behind Jared Collins.
Yeah, so to recap the top 10, now that everyone has stopped, Michael Polasek ahead of Alex Coffard and Paul Darling. Aaron Smith came back in 4th place, ahead of Jared Collins here in 5th. He's got Ryan Puckdell, Bill Woods, Alex Harrison. That's this group. Gene Sirota and Aaron Brown are 9th and 10th. Good moves for them because Sirota qualified 19th and runs 9th. Aaron Brown qualified 23rd and runs 10th.
Yeah, and he's not only running 10th, he's up 13 spots. That's gotta feel pretty good. Harrison looking good.
I've been pronouncing it incorrectly. It's more like Jean, as in Jean-Jacques Francois Jacques Jean.
Yeah, I think from the same neck of the woods there.
Well, it is a good race for your highest running Canadian at the moment. Just to change for second there. Alex Coffard is letting Paul Darling go. With 20 minutes to go, we're anticipating 12 more laps. Maybe Alex Coffard has realised 11 seconds of fuel is 1 or 2 too short.
Yeah, we'll have to see. He's going to have to push the pace in order to keep up with the way that Darling's been pushing to try and make up ground to Polasek. But with the amount of traffic we got out here today, there's still 36 cars circulating out of the 40 that started with us today, 38 that started. And yeah, they're spread out in the back half. So every couple corners, you're just coming up on a new guy. And Polasek's got one of those just ahead, Cameron Senhauser, that he's going to have to deal with in the next few. So every time you come up on one of those, especially as the leader, it's going to cost you a bit.
Puckdell up into 5th is pretty important. You're looking at 1st and 2nd in the points as they came into this round. Alex Coffard's pulled off.
Oh, no.
Michael Polasek leads. Paul Darling goes to 2nd. Aaron Smith goes 3rd. Ryan Puckdell's up into 4th ahead of Jared Collins.
Yeah, that might have been a non-sim related pit stop by the way he pulled off and hit the pit lane. So we'll have to see if we see him back again today.
Not a championship factor compared to the others inside of the top 5 now. Seeing a lot more pace from drivers inside of the top 5, top 10 after the pit stops than we had before. Remember, there was a time that Paul Darling was going around 148 flat. Not a hint of that now. We're in 145s. They're going sort of 2.5 seconds a lap quicker right now, trying to close up these gaps. In Michael Polasek's case, he's got 2.5 seconds from himself to Paul Darling in 2nd. So Polasek's trying to defend that lead. Darling's trying to close it in. Aaron Smith is going to try to stay ahead of Ryan Puckdell and Jared Collins. So everyone just giving it a bit more now than they were in the first half hour.
Yeah, they're definitely pushing, and they're having to make quick work of all the traffic. We got Darling coming up on Senhauser now. He's going to be a bit of lap traffic. We'll see how quickly Darling's able to make it by. Every 10th counts, though, at this phase. And you can see the difference. It's such a momentum course around here. It's a really rewarding track to drive. I really enjoy laps around Oulton Park. Cameron does the right thing, gives a little bit of space.
I'm worried to look too closely or too long at Cameron Senhauser's livery. I'll just appreciate the other ones, I think, for the moment.
I just want you to donate to your local animal rescue. I won't look any closer either.
Ryan Puckdell and Jared Collins, this could be the battle for the final 10 laps of the race. They both know what the point standings are and know what's at stake. At the moment, Polasek who leads the race would go to the championship lead. But these have been sort of the two standout stars, consistent across round 1 and round 2, and now in the picture for round 3. We're not voting driver of the day in any way, but I'm massively impressed by Jared Collins' pace and perseverance.
Polisek's coming up on some lap traffic. It's Darius Goodman and Kyle Gilroy who are in a battle for 28th and 29th, and he's having to make some room. Oh, and it's always a little nervy. And the lift from Kyle Gilroy to make a little room, maybe not anticipated by Darius Goodman, who's making the move to follow the leader. And he makes it work.
It's tactical, it's gamesmanship, and it's good racing. And I'm sure Michael Polisek is very, very thankful. Paul Darling's the next driver who's going to get towards that. But I think the battle that Polisek had found himself looking at has sort of sorted itself out before Paul Darling gets there. Goodman moving ahead of Kyle Gilroy, who I think he's a bit quicker than, potentially.
Yeah, Darling's going to take the inside line. Always helps to have the first guy go through and sweep him out of the way for you.
I think the headlights flash on this model of car as well, and I haven't seen it or seen much of it. So everyone's more polite than maybe I'd be in this situation, battling for the race win, because what was 2.5 seconds come down to 2 seconds. There's other battles elsewhere.
That's Corey Barrett. Recognize that Cheez-It.
Ahead of Tim Wire and Bowie Sewin, who both lost a lot of time last lap. Hang on.
Yeah.
What happened to Tim Wire and Bowie Sewin a lap ago? Now, Bowie Sewin there, we're just seeing as he tried to pass Corey Barrett, he was unsuccessful. Tim Wire gets down the inside. Okay, so that's just happened now, but the lap before must have been more exciting than desired as well.
Yeah. There's plenty of action out on the track. Not sure the cameras caught that one, unfortunately, but
Darling's closing this gap, and that's important. There's a slew more of traffic to be had as well, and I wonder if, like you talked about before, Michael Polisek arrives and they go, oh, and then Paul Darling arrives and they're already awake to it. It's a known phenomenon. Oh, off the road, that's not what Darling wants to see in front of him.
Oh, and he loses so much momentum there. That's going to hurt. That's going to cost tenths.
Goodman and Guillory are side by side as well. Again, you love to see that everyone gets to find someone of their pace to battle with, and that's what's happening with Goodman on the inside of Guillory, sweeping around the outside. No, am I reading that wrong?
I think
Guillory ahead of Goodman.
Yeah, to be honest though, Haynes, this is just giving me, this feels like the real Champ Car. You know, you got multiple different paces of cars strung out. You gotta make your lap, and you got to make it work despite the traffic. And we're really seeing the skill sets that set these drivers apart on display. Polisek's making a move around John Nicholford going into 3.
Yeah, so on the same lap that Paul Darling caught a little bit of traffic that didn't benefit him, Michael Polisek sets down a new fastest lap of the race, extends that gap out to 3 seconds. Aaron Smith in 3rd, Buchtel and Collins. Going to be good watching towards the end of this race here again, 4th and 5th in the traffic. They're also going to have to catch Guillory, Goodman, and Jeffrey Rockwell? Cindy Pickett? Not sure.
Yeah.
Far easier to pick which car is which when they're actually battling each other for position than having to scroll down the timing and see what lines up. Flames always make a car go faster.
Seeing Aaron Smith in the bright yellow car leading a couple of lapped cars. That's the Guillory and Goodman battle behind him. Good showing here from Smith. We don't see him out at every single round, but I think this is his first one of the season that he's making. But he's running the TGR&A GR Cup E Series this year, so he's got a lot of laps spent in the GR86, I think, and that's showing up on the timing sheets. Got a lock on.
Oh, there's the headlight
right
flasher.
There
Ryan
you go.
Puchtel's found it. He's found the high beams. He gets down the inside here of Guillory, and Jared Collins is able to follow through. 11 minutes remaining, 7 laps by the current calculation, but that's a flexible number. The pace of the leaders is going up and down depending on the traffic. Last lap, it doesn't count as the fastest lap of the race for Michael Polasek, because I think he might have hit the track limits somewhere, maybe the exit of turn 1, but it was a 1:45.4, which is faster than the fastest lap of the race. Paul Darling likewise. They are pushing the limits, approaching 10 minutes to go. The power of the slipstream in this car, Michael Polasek is going to want to keep Paul Darling at least 1.5 seconds behind him, because if Darling gets within 1 second, he's going to be glued to him like we saw in the first stint of this race with that unbroken train of cars sort of bumper to bumper.
Yeah, they're getting braver and braver as the laps keep ticking down. And this is just that vintage racing.
It's good stuff. So I'm seeing, this is Ryan Puchtel and Jared Collins catching Aaron Smith. Puchtel or Collins could still stand on the podium. Aaron Smith, I think, hits the headlight flash as he comes up the hill. No, it might have just been a reflection in this late afternoon sun. I saw a glint in the headlights that wasn't there.
Yeah, track is staying steady now. Nice and cool day out. Honestly, a little sunnier than you ever hope in England. And another fastest lap of the race at the front, Polasek, 45.399.
This time it stands as well, so no worries with track limits or anything like that.
Yeah, he's hanging it all out. Puchtel, I think, though, has closed that gap. They're now within 0.7 of Aaron Smith.
Also just seeing Gene Sirota and Aaron Brown go side by side for 4 corners in a row here, battling over 8th place. And I could see Guillory side by side with Darius Goodman again. So all through the field, this car really sort of levels them up, and it's about your racecraft more than your ultimate pace. Colin Lounsbury sneaks down the inside of Sirota there at the Cascades left-hand corner, and he goes back up into 8th position after a slightly long stop for Lounsbury, a couple seconds longer than we've seen from most of the other competitors. So you've got all of these battles all through the field. You've also got to bear in mind the gap between first and second, and the fact that it's a 3-way fight for 3rd position right now. Aaron Smith has been caught by Ryan Puchtel, the championship leader, and Jared Collins.
Kevin Collins leaving a lot of room. But I think we're going to have battles for 3rd through 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 12th, 13th. It's on all the way through the field. And at latest count, 5 laps to go. Interesting. Yeah, just Polasek clearing Jeffrey Rockwell, some lap traffic there, weaving a little bit in between turns 1 and 2. And I think he's just trying to break the draft to show the guys, hey, don't get too close to me when we go into this next corner. I want a little breathing room. 3 seconds clear of Paul Darling, albeit with the lap car in between them. We're watching the battle now for 3rd. This is Smith out front. Puchtel holding the inside line as Collins tries to look around the outside. We've talked a few times. That's a banked right-hand corner, but there's no outside line there. You can't make it work because it's too dirty.
No, if you're going to go around the outside of someone to try to take some position, can people not rev their motorbikes just as I open my mic? Around the right-hand corner here at Hislop, if you can get around the outside of the right-hand and then you're the inside for the left-hander and can make some moves, it's the only place you really want to make a move around the outside of anyone here at Oulton Park.
Respectful stuff from Puckdell there. He made it tight, but I think there was still a lane from Jared Collins on the outside if he wanted it. It's always sketchy when you're trying to break yourself alongside someone like that, though, because if they just move the car a little bit, all of a sudden you're going to be 2 tires in the dirt and you're going to be going straight on and losing a lot. We'll see, though. Puckdell, he's under a lot of pressure, and Smith's under a lot of pressure at this point. 4 to go at the line this time.
Suddenly the clouds come across and it gets dark and overcast once more, and the pressure on Aaron Smith is significant. Both of the other drivers he's battling here had longer pit stops, took more fuel than him, so I wonder if there's a few with this sort of pace ratcheting up that run a little short towards the end.
Colin Lounsbury just put a move on the other Aaron Brown took the spot away for 8th place as they came through the final corner.
Dive from Collins on Ryan Puckdell puts Jared Collins up into 4th. Ryan Puckdell tried to make a move on Aaron Smith. It didn't stick, and Jared Collins thought, that's my opportunity. Now he maybe smells that if he can get past Aaron Smith quickly, he'll put Smith between himself and Puckdell. And we might also, again, at the end of this race, have a tie for points for the championship lead. Could be between Collins and Polasek, depending on how this one shakes out. From what we've seen, I simply wouldn't bet on it until we see the end of the final lap. Smith extending the track a little bit, something you can afford to get away with once or twice, but couldn't do every single lap. Otherwise, you'd end up penalised.
At the front, Polasek still holding a 2.5 second lead on Paul Darling. But that's down from 3 seconds a couple laps ago. Meanwhile, a little bit of drama. John Nicholford, slow lap traffic. He's got Aaron Smith and Jared Collins and John Nicholford and Ryan Puckdell all coming by. And it's still nose to tail for that third place battle.
I've just seen Sean Roberts make a second pit stop for 4 seconds more of fuel, so I think he'd come up short or maybe had a bit of damage. Pressure's on Aaron Smith once again. Jared Collins gets to the inside of this left-hand kink and he moves the spot on Aaron Smith. Ryan Puckdell can't pass. Collins goes to 3rd, but now wide in the gravel. Aaron Smith is going to let Ryan Puckdell go, intentionally or not. Collins into 3rd, Ryan Puckdell into 4th. Still a tantalisingly steady gap, 3 seconds between Michael Polasek and Paul Darling at the lead of this race.
Just watching that back, I think Aaron Smith was under a lot of pressure and being offline through the kink. He couldn't he missed his braking point going into the right-hand hairpin there, and he just couldn't get it slowed down and left the door open for Puckdell. So we go from Polasek Paul Smith to Polasek Darling Collins and Puckdell followed by Smith. Harrison and Woods are still battling over 6th and 7th, and Lounsbury and Brown over 8th and 9th. It's all to play for in the top 10. Checking in on Lounsbury now.
Lounsbury and Brown. And still John Sirota completing the top 10. They're side by side between Collins and Puckdell on the front straight, 3 wide, passing some traffic. And Collins runs wide. Puckdell goes back into 3rd place.
Ooh. Suboptimal timing on the lap traffic, but good placement from Puckdell. And everyone is conspiring against our commentary on the last laps here.
It's 2 laps to go, so the white flag not shown this time. It'll be shown to Michael Polasek next time around. Ooh, nice smooth camera transition to our race leader, who's done so well since about the halfway point of this race just to keep his gap equal, not let Paul Darling be able to close down within the slipstream range and put pressure on. Also been a master of fuel saving, it seems, because with a 12.5-second pit stop, doesn't show any signs of needing to let off the pace in these final laps, still keeping it flat stick. Minute 45.3 last lap for him, minute 45.5 for Paul Darling, who's not been able to close down Polisek's advantage. A minute left on the clock. We're about to get the white flag for the race leader. Ryan Pucktel's then also on the final lap going to have to try to hold off Jared Collins.
23 cars left on the lead lap, 35 still circulating out of the 38. It's busy out there. So 1 lap to go, but we can't put a pin in it just yet.
Michael Polisek will be hoping for a clean path to the end. Paul Darling needs something to happen if he's going to take the race win. And as for third place, you can see Barney frantically waving the white flag in the background there. Signals to Ryan Pucktel that he's just got to hold off Jared Collins for 1 more lap. Collins has been a beast at points in this race, working his way from a second row start back to 26th or 30th position, and then back to contending for a podium position with the pace that he had in the mid-stint of this race.
Put the pressure on.
Pucktel stays ahead, but look how close Collins is, and this is the pressure point. Over the crest on the back straight, in the braking towards the chicane, Darling's dropped about 5 seconds behind Polisek. Polisek's looking good in the race lead, but this is so defensive from Ryan Pucktel, trying to force Jared Collins to take a different line. He swoops around the outside, locks up, runs wide. Pucktel holds on to third. Michael Polisek in the race lead. He's got just a few corners left to navigate. Well, he took pole position, but he gave up the race lead very early. He followed, then he ran long. He overcut everyone, took the race lead, which he's held since then. Michael Polisek is headed for a victory in the ChampCar iRacing Series Round 3 at Oulton Park, and with it, he'll take the championship lead after 3 races, and he sets the fastest lap of the race too, doing it.
Paul Darling crosses the line. Ryan Pucktel's going to hold off Jared Collins for third. 4th place to Collins. Aaron Smith's going to finish an honorable 5th. Alex Harrison and Bill Woods were battling on the last lap with some lap traffic ahead, but Harrison's going to hold off Bill Woods for 6th and 7th. Colin Lounsbury coming around the final corner. He's not going to have anyone in the way, and assuming he's got enough fuel in the car, that's going to be an 8th place finish for him. The other Aaron Brown, is coming to the line with he's not coming to the line. John Sirota's gotten around him on the last lap. So Sirota takes 9th, 10th place for Aaron Brown, and maybe some fuel concerns there.
There's another problem that Aaron Brown has encountered. We'll talk about in a second. Bowie Suin here in 13th, ahead of Ryan Carwile. Eddie Kosick. Oh, Tim Wire had a slide there, and he's going to lose out a little bit. But the incident limit was 25 incidents before a drive-through, and Aaron Brown has gotten 26 on the final lap, I believe. So look for that to update itself. Aaron Brown crossed the line in 10th, but I'm not convinced from what I see here that necessarily is going to stand. Great racing, not just for the lead, but 5th, 10th, all through the field. Incredible amount of side-by-side at Oulton Park. Do not count these chickens, as they have not yet hatched on the results. There we go. It goes and updates itself. Michael Polisek, the race winner from Paul Darling and Ryan Pucktel. Jared Collins mixing it up with them for 4th, with Aaron Smith crossing the line in 5th. Top 10 completed by Alex Harrison, Bill Woods, Colin Lounsbury, John Sirota, and Logan Senhauser goes into 10th as Aaron Brown gets penalised post-race. Sean Fritz into 11th, Bowie Suin, Ryan Carwile, Andy Kosick, Mark Kruger, Tim Wire, Orlando Herrell, Aaron Brown, Matt McGee, Zach Balthazar in 20th. Then in 21st was Sean Roberts, John Nicholford, Scott Grinnell, Kevin Collins, Josh Toothman, Kyle Guillory, Vincent Bernier, Steve Hermé, Darius Goodman, Ian Giebler, Cameron Sennhauser, Corey Barrett, Jeffrey Rockwell, Carl Robertson, Cindy Pickett, Alex Coffer, Jordan Probst. Andrew Lemke was the last car to start the race. Stephen Stoddart and John Cherry did not. Aaron Brown has been sent from 10th to 18th, which might be the last car on the lead lap, I think, in this case. Incredibly exciting 60 minutes of racing at Oulton Park.
Yeah, plenty of action out there today.
We got our full podium, David Haynes style. We're going to go 3, 2, 1, which means the first driver we're going to speak to is Ryan Puchtel. Fantastic race from the way that we watched it, but a race of two halves, fuel saving the first half hour, and then incredible pace in that back half.
Yeah, for sure. Pace was pretty slow in the beginning. I knew kind of what everyone else was doing to fuel save, so I was trying to fuel save as much as I could. Looks like Michael Polisek, he saved quite a bit of fuel and got me quite a bit on the pit stops. And then, yeah, that second stint, just trying to push as hard as I can, trying to make up some time that I lost.
One of your key rivals sort of heading into this was Jared Collins. Yourself and him tied for the championship lead. He was down as far as, I think, 30th place on lap 1. And he came back and he made you all work for it. So in future Toyota GR86 races this season, you're going to have to do a lot to keep him behind you again.
Oh, yeah, it was definitely a great race, for sure, especially towards the end there. He's got some good pace, so I was pushing as hard as I can just to get that spot, so...
You've had a run in all 3 cars that we're going to see for the championship this season. So between this, the BMW and the Mazda, which is going to be the one that you feel strongest and most confident in scoring points with?
I would say I would have most of the laps in the Mazda, although that's not very many. I've only really done one race in the GR86, so this is still pretty new to me. And I've never really raced the BMW other than the last race at Daytona.
Well, 3rd place, congratulations. You're also 1 race away from going into the random draw prize as well, and looking forward to seeing you next time out as well. Congrats.
Thank you.
That was 3rd place. Ryan Puchtel with us. Paul Darling finished 2nd, and he's with Devin Peters.
Hey, Paul, it was an exciting race out there for the first half. Looked like there was maybe a little bit of gamesmanship happening out there.
Yeah, the first half of the race was pretty hilarious. As soon as Polisek let me by, I think everyone knew what game was afoot. And I was just trying to save fuel an excessive amount so someone would pass me, and everyone behind me was slowing down the same amount. So it was just follow the leader 2-3 seconds off normal pace for the whole first stint, which was the first time I've had that happen to me, so it was pretty funny.
On the bright side, even though you were driving slow, I think I got it in my notes here that the GR86 is your favorite car, so you got to drive something fun tonight.
Yeah, no, it's the car I get along with most, and the car I think I have the best chance of being close to Polisek. I'm always like 2-3 tenths off his pace though, but yeah, I was close in the end. Got a little bit unlucky with some traffic, and then as soon as he had cleared off to 3 seconds, I knew it was pretty much over from there.
Well, a quality race tonight. That's going to bolster your championship hopes a little bit. 10th place coming into the session, and got to think that that's bumped you up a fair bit.
Yeah, I hope so. I missed the second round due to work travel, so hopefully I can be around for the rest of these.
Yeah, by my count, I've got you in 4th place and first of the guys that haven't showed up for all of them yet.
Ah, that's good news.
So, which race are you looking forward to most coming up? We got Michelin Raceway, we got Watkins Glen, we got Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. There's one correct answer.
Most sport for sure for me. I don't know if that's the correct answer though.
That's the correct answer. You're talking
Okay.
Canadian on the crew. Well done. Thanks for coming out tonight. Anyone you need to shout out?
Shout out to my girlfriend Lynn for putting up with all the races I have to randomly run to and then abandon her. So thank you.
Cheers.
Darling by name, darling by nature, apparently. It sounds like for our second place finisher, Paul Darling, but our winner after an hour of racing at Oulton Park Raceway is Michael Polasek. We've spoken to everyone and we've talked about the cat and mouse strategic nature of the first half of the race, and you were either the mousiest or the cattiest, depending on how you look at it. Massive overcut strategy worked well for you.
Yeah, I knew that with these cars, with how insanely strong the draft is, you can't break away from the pack. So you just have to fuel save and hope that you can just outsave everyone else. And fortunately, that's what I was able to do. And once I got out of the pits, I knew I was out of draft range. It was just a matter of putting down the laps and making sure that the field couldn't catch me. And fortunately, lap traffic was kind enough, and I was able to just keep pace until I figured out the track a lot more, coming to like 5-3 to go or so. Then I was able to just gap the field then.
And the other sort of stock question is, now we've had 3 races, 3 different cars. You're a winner in the GR86, but you made very good points in the other 2. You now lead the championship. Which one are you most thinking is advantageous to your strengths, your driving style?
I would say definitely the GR86, simply because I had the most experience in it. I know how it drives, especially with this setup. Feels pretty similar to the setups I've driven in other series. So it's just a matter of learning the tracks and learning just how to race them, what the best fuel saving strategies are, and also the M2. I just need to get used to that car a lot more. It's very different compared to the other 2.
Well, it's the one we're going to have next time out in 2 weeks' time at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. You take the race win, you lead the championship. On race pace and strategy, you showed them all how it's done. So congrats to you and anyone you'd like to thank.
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to thank Track Level Up and Apex One Sim Center in Westfield, New Jersey. They've both been great, and especially Apex One Sim Center. I represented them in another racing series, and I'm glad to be representing them here.
Fantastic. Good to see you. Hopefully see you for plenty more races this season.
All right. Thank you very much.
Race winner Michael Polasek joins us there. Great to hear from our whole podium, where I think there were 10 drivers that really stood a serious chance of taking the race win. In the end, it was Michael Polasek from Paul Darling and Ryan Puchtel, and Polasek takes the lead of the championship from Puchtel, Collins, and then Paul Darling. Can't wait for 2 weeks' time when we roll out the BMW M2 once again at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. So that's going to be, I think, must watch as well, and hopefully just as exciting as we've seen today, Devin.
Yeah, we're getting spoiled this year, Haynes. We've got a lot of fast drivers on the grid, a lot of folks competing for wins, and it seems like every race there's a couple new faces filtering their way towards the front as we try out the wide variety of cars on offer. And of course, they're all racing for such a wonderful prize. It's such a pleasure to get to do these broadcasts on behalf of the ChampCar iRacing series, and to get to bring the joy of racing from the virtual screen to the real world to one of these lucky drivers this season.
Not too late to join us and not too late to win prizes as well, with 3 draws across the year for participation. Forum.champcar.org has got all the information, or you can find us on Discord and on iRacing. David Haynes here with Devin Peters and Michael Derby as HJBC brought you live coverage of the ChampCar iRacing series on HJBC and ChampCar channels. Our pleasure to bring you such great racing, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time at Road Atlanta for round 4.